Federal government policies attracts more indigenous companies into oil and gas sector. Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) repays cash calls arrears, plus new classification policy for insurance companies. I am Musa Abubakar taking you through Business Express today. You're welcome. Let's bring you up to speed with business development. The federal government's resolve to unlock Nigeria's investment potential is attracting more indigenous companies into the oil and gas industry. This OPEC Secretary General Muhammad Barkindo says it's set to reposition Nigeria to assume a proactive role in the industry. Lydia Samson reports.
The rising profile of Nigeria's indigenous companies is attributed to Nigeria's elevation in the international community as a result of performance and policies of the present administration. Secretary of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, says the world oil outlook indicates that demand is expected to increase by 50 million barrels per day, rising from 94.5 million barrels per day to 111.1 million barrels per day in 2040, which Nigeria stands to benefit from.
Nigeria again hosting two major international petroleum events this year means we can truly say that we are living through a golden era of Nigerian statesmanship.
Some indigenous players says introduction of local content as well as conferences like the NOG has continued to provide them the needed platform to showcase, network and interface with global players.
We're an indigenous company, we have a global mindset.
The players are positioning to remaining competitive amidst shifting global markets.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) says it has maintained commitment to repayment of cash calls arrears where about $1 billion out of the $5 billion indebtedness has been settled. NNPC Group Managing Director Dr. Mekanti Baru said the corporation had worked hard to sustain production level from the nation's assets to above average of 2 million barrels per day in 2018. The NNPC boss vowed that the corporation remains globally competitive to ensure value addition to the nation's hydrocarbon resources for the benefit of Nigerians and other stakeholders. Now, the Economic Commission for Africa (ECA) has perfected plans to set up African Women Leadership Fund to help speed up the growth of women-led businesses around the continent. Speaking in Nouakchott at a joint AU-EU high-level site event titled Women in Power, ECA's Executive Secretary Vera Songwe said the Commission will create a work network of young women fund managers, train them for 2 years, and put them out in the market. The innovative fund seeks to address the fundamental gap in the access of women to finance architecture. As such, it will seek to lower the hurdles of women-owned businesses, promote investment in micro-enterprises, and take women's cooperatives to the next level. The fund, she said, complements the Africa Women's Fund of the African Union, the GRAC Mitchell Trust, and other similar mechanisms by focusing on mobilizing global capital to build a cadre of African women fund managers who will in turn invest in and develop African women-led businesses and micro businesses. Now, Mrs. Ijoma Ogunebo, Chairperson, Society of Women Accountants of Nigeria, SWAN, Abuja chapter, is with us in the studio to discuss the growth of women-led businesses following the plans to fund such businesses by the Economic Commission for Africa, ECA. Glad to have you join us.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Now, how important is the role of women in business?
The role of women in business can actually not be overemphasized, because we've seen women taking organizations and to very great heights. You know, so the women inclusion in businesses is of very paramount importance in the global economy of today.
Okay, there's this plans that is underway by the ECA to assist women-led businesses. How important is that to the economy, most especially in Nigeria?
It's a very welcome development. It's a reflection of what is happening in the global economy. Because in March, the HM Treasury in UK, which is the Ministry for Finance and Economic Planning in UK, set out this Women in Finance Charter, of which over 205 firms have signed up to make sure women are included in the high-ranking offices of their organizations, especially the financial organizations, the banks, the capital markets firms, and the rest of them. So it's a reflection of what is happening globally, and coming from the Economic Commission for Africa, honestly, is a very welcome development, and I pray it is cascaded down to Nigeria, because being the largest economy in Africa, I think down here it will help us a great deal.
Okay, how effective is women participation in business in the country? Women
have been very effective in business and activities that have to do with financials in Nigeria. We can see a lot of them doing so well. I can mention so many of them. The Minister of Finance that we have today is a woman, and she's doing so well. The DG of the Debt Management Office is a woman, and she's been doing a lot to help finance and fund the budget of the Federation. We have the likes of Okonjo Iweala, who have actually cut their teeth in a lot of financial issues, even by growing up to be the Managing Director of the World Bank. Our own Aruma, I would say, is the Vice President of World Bank today and the Treasurer. So I can just go on and on and on. Down here locally, the banks have actually allowed the women to get to the top. We have a lot of CEOs, the Standard Chartered Bank, the Stanbic Holdings, GT Bank, Diamond Bank, they all have women at the top over there. And these are businesses we can point at and say they are doing fantastically well.
But what about the micro, small and medium enterprises?
The micro, small and medium enterprises are also coming up. If you've been following what the current government is doing, especially from the Office of the Vice President, you will see that the micro, small and medium enterprises are getting a lot of attention, especially with the idea of CBN there's even a fund by CBN to fund the micro, small and medium enterprises. And the banks have actually been asked to give 60% of those funds to women. So it's an evolving thing. The economy is beginning to realize the impact women have, you know, being up there in organizations.
But are we actually doing enough?
There's a lot of room for improvement. We are not there yet, but okay. I think we are getting there. It's no longer the way it used to be 10 years, 20 years ago. So we are really improving, but there is really a lot of room for improvement.
What do you think are the incentives needed to encourage women to get into small and medium enterprises or entrepreneurship or any business or economic activities?
Okay, a lot of women are already doing their bits, but I think funding, financial inclusion is of paramount importance here, because a lot of women do not have access to funds, which is what they need to expand their businesses, which is what they need to help them even set up. You know, a lot of women do a lot of things in their rooms, in their kitchens, which is capable of growing and blowing into very big conglomerates. But because they are not, they don't get funding very easily, it's actually an issue. So I want to commend the CBN for this incentive, you know, giving those funds which has been actually set out. And I know a lot of women don't know about it, but they can apply and have access to those fundings, and it will help them to grow. So we're not doing enough to encourage the women. There should be this financial literacy thing. It should be, I think the sensitization, you know, should be exploded to the extent that every woman gets to know that she has the ability to access these funds here and there. And sensitization from groups like us are also helping the women, because we're doing a lot of those things, especially from the grassroots. Yes, within the last 1 year, we've been able to go to the University of Abuja, some of the very high institutions in Abuja and the environs, to talk to young girls about becoming professionals. And in becoming professionals, it exposes them to a lot of financial knowledge, a lot of financial literacy, and I think from there we've actually done our best so far, and we are doing more to encourage more women to participate.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ijoma Gonebo, for your contribution.
Thank you so much for having me.
The Nigerian equities market holds 3-day losing streak. Let's join Bosede Abel for highlights of trading.
The Nigerian Stock Exchange on Thursday reversed midweek losses to end session on positive, with the all-share index appreciating 0.65% to close 37,743.22 basis points, and market capitalization at 13.6 trillion naira. 503.1 million shares valued at 5.8 billion naira were traded in 3,710 deals. Dangote Cement topped the gainers table with 2.24%, followed by Nigerian Breweries 1.80% and Cement Company of Northern Nigeria 4.74%. At the summit of losers table were Mobil, Flour Mill and International Breweries, while top trades measured by volume were UBA, Zenith Bank and Access Bank.
Joining us to discuss activities of the capital market is Professor Uche Owalike, the first professor of capital market in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, you were recently confirmed as the first professor of capital markets. Why did it take so long for Nigeria to have a professor of capital market?
Well, the capital market is a special aspect of finance. Of course, you know, we have professors of finance, but the capital market is only a unique aspect of, you know, that field. A professor of capital market means that the focus of research, you know, is in that area of finance. That's capital markets, which essentially has to do with the raising of medium to long-term funds. Before now, we've had, I think the closest we have come to it happens to be the time the then DG of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Professor Ndiokereko was appointed a visiting, you know, professor of capital markets. But when you talk in terms of full-time research, you know, in a university, the first time is happening is now, and that's by the Nasarawa State University based on my area of research, based on my publications, I was assessed a professor of capital market.
Okay, considering the importance of the capital market in the economy, how will your investiture as a professor encourage others to specialize on capital market?
Yes, since my pronouncement as a professor of capital market, a good number of young academics, have been indicating interest, to also specialize in that area. So I see a situation where in the next couple of years, we'll begin to also have professors of capital market. Now, what that means is that it will also, push the frontiers of, that field further, and you also begin to have increased awareness about the capital market, which is actually what we need. So, if we can have a sizable number of academics, of scholars, in that area, you should expect that the teaching of capital market, the issue about financial literacy, capital market literacy, will be taken to a higher level. So if we have more people in universities specializing in that area, you can expect that of course it will be in the interest of the market.
Okay, the month of June was not really actually a fabulous one for stocks. What do you think are responsible for that?
Yeah, not just the month of June. If you look at the market performance, particularly equities, when we say capital markets, is a whole lot. Apart from the fact that you're looking at the products, you're also looking at the institutions, the regulators, and so on. But if you look at the equity segment of the market, if you look at the performance since February in particular, it has not been, what one would expect. In January, the market gained 16%, on the back of the success recorded in 2017. Remember, in 2017, the market was one of the best performing markets in the world, recording more than 40% return, I think next to Argentina and Turkey. But from February, we began to see, declines in performance, such that as we speak, up till the end of June, 29th of June, the end of the second quarter, the year-to-date return, was just about 0.09. That's 9%. So, and if you compare that with what we had in January, you will discover that that's a significant drop. And so far, even this month of July, take for example what has happened today, being Friday, the market lost by 0.31%, whereas only yesterday it gained 0.65%, and that's because of the fact that the market is being driven by just a few stocks. So we call them bellwether stocks that determine the direction. One of them is Dangote Cement. Yesterday, Dangote Cement, just because it gained 5 naira, the market went up. Today, because Dangote Cement lost 3 naira, the market is also going down. So we really need to diversify the market, so we don't have this risk concentrated in just a few stocks, such that when whatever happens to them affects the entire, the entire market. And the whole performance is not divorced from what is happening, around the economy. I talked about, declines, setting in from February, and that's partly because of uncertainties too that, began to set in, or certain uncertainties from the delay in the budget passage and the budget assent, uncertainties raised by this political.
It didn't impact much on the market.
No. There is no study that has really isolated the impact of that budget delay, but you can't really rule it out that the delay also led to exit of foreign investors. It creates uncertainty. The political tension is also creating uncertainty. The insecurity in the country is also creating uncertainty. If you look at the latest report by the Nigerian Stock Exchange on domestic and foreign transactions, the analysis for the month of May, which is the latest, it's very clear there that whereas foreign inflows into the country declined, foreign outflows, okay, increased by over 100%. Foreign outflows actually increased by from 58 billion naira in April to over 100 billion in May. So the exit of foreign investors is not just as a result of what's happening abroad, because as we speak, interest rates are going up in the US, normalization policy in the US, the dollar is strengthening, so it's triggering capital outflows to the US. But that's not just enough. Of course, China-US trade war is also impacting. But there is also the domestic factors.
Okay, what are the stocks to look out for in the coming weeks?
Yes, the stocks you look out for are stocks with good fundamentals, and a good number of them have good fundamentals. If we go by their first quarter results, okay, the half-year results, we are still expecting them. So you would say the fundamentals are there, but as I said, it is this macro headwinds that are really affecting them. Now, in specific terms, I think a few banking stocks are still good. Okay, GTB, for example, is still a good stock. If you look at even in the industrial goods, Dangote Cement too, it remains a good stock. You hear Dangote is also planning to list on the London Stock Exchange, so that's good information that should impact positively on the stock price domestically. So Dangote Cement, Nestle still also has some upside, potentials at 1,500 naira. People still see it as a 1,600 naira stock. So you have some of these stocks in the agri sector. Presco is also a good.
Okay, I'm afraid
Okomo oil.
You have to stop there. Thank you very much, Professor Uche Owaleke. President Donald Trump said the U.S. could soon impose tariffs on more than $500 billion in Chinese imports, about the amount of total goods the U.S. imported from China last year. Trump made his comments hours before fresh tariffs on $34 billion of Chinese imports took effect at 12 a.m. Friday. The $34 billion in tariffs are the first part of levies on a total of $50 billion of Chinese goods that Trump announced in June. The second part, with tariffs on $16 billion in Chinese imports, is scheduled to take effect in 2 weeks. China has warned it will retaliate in kind. Let's take a peep into the commodities markets. How are the markets trending in some key African nations and beyond? Let's have the numbers as presented by Bosede Abel.
Equity markets in Africa closed Thursday session on a mix. Nairobi all share appreciated 0.95%, Tunidex 0.26%, Namibia overall index 0.05%, while FTSE JSE Africa Top 40 and Ghana GSE Composite Index finished on negative. United States equities closed mostly high on Thursday. Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed 0.75%, S&P 500 0.86%, and Nasdaq Composite gained 1.12% to close 7,586.43. European stocks also closed positive Thursday. FTSE 100 gained 0.40%, DAX 1.19%, and CAC 40 appreciated 0.86%. It wasn't the same for Asian equities. The Nikkei declined 0.78%, Topix depreciated 1.01%, and Hang Seng Index shed 0.21%.
That's all we have for you at Business Express. Keep a date with us on Monday for another edition. I am Musa Abubakar.